But what I thought I'd talk about today, as I reckon it's going to be fairly quiet, is talk about what it's like to actually do this job as a second job or side hustle. You know, I do have a 9 to 5 job, which pays reasonably well, but for various reasons, you know, I really did need to earn a bit more extra cash. Oh, here we go. Got a first order coming up. I can do Subway. I don't mind doing Subway. Go on, mate. Go on. Go on. Right, mate. Who got that one? Say again? Oh, that's great. 10 seconds is perfect. It's when they say 5 minutes that's the problem. And 5 minutes normally means 10 minutes. Thank you so much, sir. And just really wanted to talk about the numbers, like how do the numbers stack up? If you're the kind of person who's thinking about doing this as a second job to earn a bit of extra cash, is it really worth doing it? What factors do you have to weigh up? You know, and just sort of getting down to the real nitty gritty with the numbers as much as I can. So what I'll do is I'll sort of talk through some example earnings that I've had and see how they work out in terms of what my actual takeaway is once you think about all the other expenses that you've got on top of the actual money that you earn. But just need to do this delivery first and then I'll talk about that. All right, mate, how are you? Okay, just need to take, don't worry, I just need to take a photo because I think it said leave at door. There you go, mate. Cheers. Thanks a lot. Have a good one. Okay, so like I said, I try and sort of break down one specific month, and I'm going to break down June and break down exactly how much I earned, but how much you actually kind of take away when you consider various expenses and tax and various other things. So in the month of June, which is a fairly typical one in terms of hours worked and earnings as well, I think I took home just over £600, okay, for the month. However, let's break that down in terms of hours worked and how much of that money you actually see at the end. So I got about just over £600, I think, and for that I probably worked maybe anywhere between 3 to 5 times in a week. Possibly be sort of a couple of times during the week, a couple of times at the weekend, and each time I go out I probably do a couple of hours. So let's say four times a week as an average. So that's 8 hours a week, 32 hours over the month, and you've earned about 600 quid in that time. All right, so per hour that does work out maybe just under £20, which does seem about right looking at roughly how much I earn generally when I go out. It's not always exactly £20 for the hour, but you know, we can often hit that. The next thing I have to factor in though is insurance, and if you're gonna do this kind of work, then you need a special kind of insurance. I think it's called hire and reward insurance, which is separate from just normal insurance you get for your car or motorbike, just for sort of commuting and daily use. And you have a choice whether to sort of pay yearly, monthly, or you can do it literally on a sort of pay-as-you-go basis, where when you go out you switch on the app and then it kind of charges you per per hour for this. And what I decided to do was, because I didn't have any insurance on the motorbike because I just got it, it was possible to get both sort of general insurance and the hire and reward assurance through them. So I decided to do both together. And the monthly cost for me is about £126, I think, for the month. So immediately you have to take that off your monthly earnings. So from 600, I'm now down to 480 or something like that. So becoming slightly less attractive perhaps at this stage. So insurance is the first thing you need to consider. The other thing you need to consider is tax, and sort of insurance and tax are a little bit sort of tied up with each other, because you can sort of claim insurance as part of your tax. So again, if you're doing this as a second job, it's likely that your first job, if that's your kind of official job, you're already paying tax on that at whatever rate you pay that, whether that's 20% or 40%. So you've got your first job. Now, what that means is any earnings over that are going to be taxed at whatever sort of the higher rate is for you. So if you're at 40% and you're paying at least a small amount of your earnings, or a big amount of your earnings at 40%, any additional earnings are going to be taxed at 40%. This isn't free money, and it can't be kind of hidden. Well, I suppose it can be hidden from the tax offices, HMRC, but if you're planning to do this legitimately, then you do need to think about the tax. Now, I am in the 40% tax bracket, which people may get surprised by that and think, well, why on earth would you be doing this job if you're... And trust me, I am just in the 40% tax bracket, and my money gets taken out at 40%. So we're now looking at kind of 40% of the total earnings. So if we say I've earned 600 this month, then 40% of that, maths equations in my head, but we're probably looking at 200 odd quid immediately going out the account. Now, that's not in addition to the insurance. Obviously the insurance is an expense, it's a business expense, and technically you're sort of a sole trader when you're doing this work. So things like insurance and some sort of mileage, petrol, these can be claimed and be used to bring down your tax bill. So that would be included in my tax. So the £130 I pay for insurance would come out of the whatever it is, 200 odd quid that would be used to pay for tax. So that's the reality. Certainly for me, it would be different for you. If you're paying only 20%, you'd obviously be paying less. The reality for me is if I earn £600, I'm probably only going to take home 300 odd quid of that. And that's for an extra 32 hours of work in the month, or 8 hours a week work. So really, this is one of those calculations you have to do. Is it worth it? Now, I know that a lot of people do this work on an e-bike rather than a car or a motorbike, and the main reason they do that, and the main reason why you see so many people scooting around on e-bikes, is that obviously you don't pay insurance on those, any kind of insurance. Even if you're doing delivery, you don't have to pay insurance on that. So from a financial perspective, that's probably one of the cheapest ways of doing it, so you make more money. But obviously, bear in mind, if you're doing it on an e-bike, it's going to be a lot more tiring. You might be more limited in how far that you can actually go in terms of deliveries. So you've got to choose whether this is something you feel is worth doing. You've got to decide what transport you're going to use. You're going to have to decide just how often in a week you can get out. Obviously, you're balancing up your home life, your family life, with how many hours you're willing to go out in the evening, how much energy you've got to do that. Now, it may seem like a fairly sort of paltry amount to take home at the end of the month, certainly from my perspective, 300. It might be more if you're in different financial circumstances, but I'm still happy to keep doing this and being able to do this job at any time that I want, whether it's 6 o'clock in the morning, though again probably not going to run too much at that time, or 8 o'clock in the evening, and you can decide whether to go or not to go. There's no shifts, and that's a very attractive thing to me, and that might be to you as well. I think on another level, it's been interesting for me to actually sort of move around the city, seeing a lot of the city that I've never seen before, seeing a lot of different people I would have never met before, just doing this. All right, mate, how are you? All right, though. I got two. My pleasure. All right, let's get off to this double order. So yeah, if you're thinking about doing this kind of job as a side hustle, you need to bear in mind all of these factors. Bear in mind how much realistically you can earn in a month, how many times you can go out, what kind of vehicle you can use, insurance, tax, expenses, and you've got to calculate whether it's worth it really. From my perspective, financially, probably not. But the weird kind of side benefits I get from it, because it is actually a surprisingly rewarding job at times. There's a kind of a clean pleasure in the transactional nature of doing this job. Someone wants food, go and pick it up, and you go and give it to them. Are you going to make huge amounts of money doing this? No. If you're just looking for it to kind of supplement your income in a fairly small way, it might be just to cover some additional expenses, entertainment, loans, etc., then it may be worth it. Don't do it, mate, don't do it. But you're definitely not going to retire on this. All right then, mate. Here you go. Have a good one. Cheers. You got that? Yep. Cheers. Bye. All right, that's that first one done. Let's now get off to this second Kentucky order. So my question is really, would you consider doing this job? Genuinely curious how many people who may have thoughts about doing some kind of second job, side hustle, have considered doing this. By the way, while we're here, we're actually just coming past on the left here Hallam FC, which is the oldest surviving football ground in the world. Sheffield is famous for having the oldest football team in the world, which is Sheffield FC, which was formed in 1857. I think Hallam FC were one of the other early teams. The difference being is that they've always been at the same ground, and this ground has been here since 1860. You can say it says the world's oldest football ground on there. There you go. Bit of history there for you. A bit of sporting history. All right, mate. How are you? Too bad. It is, yeah. It's nicer. Yeah, there you go. Enjoy. Cheers, mate. Have a great one. See ya. Bye-bye. I think another reason why I quite like this job is that I realised I'm quite an inveterately nosy person. I quite like looking and seeing where and how people live. And you do get quite an insight into that doing this job. And you visit some very interesting residences, places you never knew existed, sort of tucked away, especially some of these more sort of palatial places. And you're like, ooh, look at this. Kind of speculating about what job they do. If you're a bit of a curtain twitcher, You like to see what people are up to. You like to see what they're up to in their lives and where they live and what kind of houses they live in. This is it's a great job for that. Let's just pick that one up from Morrison's. All right, mate. How are you? 5013. Is that it? Thank you so much. All right. Again, nice little quick order. This is Morrison's. £4. I think it's about 4.25 for 2 miles. I like these kind of orders. I like supermarket orders. I like light supermarket orders. Well, you're not one with huge bottles of Coke or cans of lager in. I like orders that don't have age restricted items in as well, so you don't have to deal with asking for ID. Supermarket orders are always good because you're not under any real time pressure. Don't have to get there before the food gets cold. And it's times like these where this job really doesn't seem too bad at all. Saturday afternoon, weather's nice, warm, feel the kind of breeze on your body as you ride on your moped. Flowers are in bloom, people are generally happy. Can't complain. And you know what, Sheffield's really not a bad place to do this job. It is one of the kind of greenest cities, certainly in the UK, possibly in Europe. So, have a look around. A lot of my ordering takes place in places like this. Little country lanes, sort of villages and towns on the outskirts of the city. It's certainly better than trying to navigate city centres. I generally try to avoid them as much as possible. Tend to stick more to the outskirts and suburbs of the city, knowing that the e-bike riders have got this the city centre absolutely sewn up, and every time I go into the city centre it's just a nightmare trying to deliver or park. Sort of one-way systems and roadworks absolutely everywhere. So this is why I think either doing it in a car or on a moped is better, because you can do the longer orders and you can do the orders a bit further out of the city. I think that's the bit that I quite enjoy. All right, mate. How are you? Yeah, not too bad. Oh. There you go. Cheers. Have you got your code? 64. Thanks a lot. Have a great day, mate. All right. As soon as that one's finished, got another one coming in. Slap and Pickle Burger is one of my favourites to go to. All right. All right. Let's get down to it. All right there. Hi there. Cheers. All right, mate. How are you?
No, not too bad.
Yeah, not too bad. Warm one today. Is it warm in there?
A little bit,
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Thank you so much. Cheers. So yeah, this is an example of where a tip can take an order from being just a kind of a half decent one to something very, very good indeed. So this has gone from being a £3 order to a £6 order, and in total probably a mile and a half maximum, maybe even less than that, maybe even a mile, and all done in 5 to 10 minutes. So obviously if all orders were like this, then it'd be fantastic. I think it's interesting, the comparison in sort of tipping cultures, I know, between the US and here. I know in the US, that it's an absolute obligation that you tip.
Yeah, my food. Yeah, look at it.
But far less so. I'd say maybe 1 in 15, 1 in 20 here you get a tip. I'm not sure how the kind of the equivalent payment is for the actual orders themselves between the US and the UK. Maybe they're lower because they know that they're going to get tips. So. All right, mate. 85, cheers. Thanks for the tip, much appreciated. There you go, enjoy. Have a great day. Okay, just finished that one. Now got another order come straight through. This is a pizza place, literally 700 meters from here. So, and then that's going a fairly short distance for about £3.50. So yeah, this is turning into a fun, tasty little afternoon of earning. Hi there. Oh, is that 4441? Awesome. Do you have the ticket for that? Just need to scan it. Thank you. Come on. There we go. Perfect. And now this is just 1.5 miles away, so again, definitely worth it. So this is just under £4, probably just under 2 miles of Hi there. Cheers, thanks a lot. Do you have your code?
Oh, hang on, yes.
It's okay.
No, I got it.
It's okay. It's there somewhere.
Sorry, I don't use this.
No, it's okay. Let me just have a quick look.
It did tell me like 26 or something.
Yeah, let me try 26 and we'll see what it says. Yep, that's it. You got it. Well guessed. All right, have a great one.
Thanks.
Bye. So yeah, I've been out for about hour 45, I reckon. Might call it a day shortly, but let's just have a quick look at what we've earned today. So on Deliveroo, I've got nearly £15. On Uber Eats, we've got £8, so we're looking at £23, which is not fantastic, it's okay. So £23 for nigh on 2 hours. So we're looking at sort of 11.50-ish per hour. That's minimum wage for you, buddy. But like I said, when it's kind of like this, it doesn't feel too bad.